Today we're going to get into 4.3, the first day of 2, patterns and nonlinear functions. We're going to learn about a second type of pattern that we need to deal with and kind of work with doing that. Again, it has to revolve around common differences whenever we check to see the difference between the numbers and going from there. So let's see what goes on. It says tell whether each function is linear or nonlinear, then write a rule that represents the function. What we remember is linear means that if we check our common difference first, that it's going to be the same number. Nonlinear means that it's not the same number, so let's do that first. Notice that our x's go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is good. Our y's go +1 here, +3 here, +5 there, +7 there. And because these common differences are different, the answer is no, it is not linear. So that's the first thing I have to remember, is that again, if it was linear, I'd see 1, 1, 1, 1, or 2, 2, 2, 2, or 3, 3, 3, 3. But because those numbers are different, it is nonlinear. Now what we're learning today is, or what I have to learn today is, that anytime they don't match the first time, I must check the second set of common differences. And I do that by looking at the differences. 1 to 3 is +2. 3 to 5 is +2. 5 to 7 is also +2. And so what I am seeing here is it took 2 checks to check to see if I found a common difference. And what that means for me now is that the base pattern is now y = x squared. How do I know it's y = x squared? Because it took 2 checks. Again, if it takes 2 checks to get a common difference, my base pattern is going to be y = x squared. I don't care about what the check is or what the common difference is. The fact that it took 2 tries to get a common difference all the way across means I do y = x squared. The next thing I do is the same. I look at the numbers, I plug in 0. 0 squared is 0 times 0, which is 0. 1 squared is 1. 2 squared means 2 times 2, which is 4. 3 squared means 3 times 3, which is 9. And 4 squared means 4 times 4, which is 16. And then remember, what we do is we put the numbers as they are right next to it. So instead I actually have 0, 3, 6, 11, and 18. And the last thing I do is try to figure out what my adjustment is. Now the difference in this is that it could be an adjustment of addition, subtraction, or multiplication, so I would always check the addition first. Again, the nice thing is we have a 0 going to 2, and the way you get from 0 to 2 is by adding 2. So let's check to see if it's +2. 1 + 2 is 3, 4 + 2 is 6, 9 + 2 is 11, 16 + 2 is 18, which means that that is the adjustment that I am making, and that is the answer that I am looking for, y = x squared +2. Again, y = x squared came from the fact that it took 2 checks to get my common difference. And then the +2 is because that is what my base pattern has to be adjusted to match the actual pattern. Okay? And again, the key thing is your adjustment could be addition, could be subtraction, but in this case it could also be multiplication. So again, if there's an issue with that, please raise your hand. Let one of us know so we can try to discuss that with you before you move on to this question here. Again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's good. We want those going up by 1. Now we look at the common differences. 0 to 2 is +2. 2 to 16 is +14. 16 to 54, well, you do the second minus the first to find out that that's +38. 54 to 128, well, 128 minus 54, which is +74. Again, is this linear? Nope, it's non-linear. Because if it was linear, those would be the same. But it also means that we can't stop checking, because we have to see if we have the second check. So 2 to 14 is +12. 14 to 38 is +24. And 38 to 74, again, subtract the second from the first, is +36. Notice I still don't have what I need here. And so I'm going to check one more time. 12 to 24 is +12. 24 to 36 is +12. So notice that it took 3 checks And as we're learning today, if it takes 3 checks, then my base pattern is y equals x to the third. So again, if it takes 2 checks, I put x squared, but because this was 3 checks, it's x to the third. Everything else is the same. 0 to the third means 0 times 0 times 0. 1 to the third is 1 caret 3, which is 1. 2 to the third means 2 times 2 times 2, or 2 caret 3, which is 8. 3 to the third means 3 times 3 times 3, or 3 caret 3, which is 27. 4 to the third means 4 times 4 times 4, or 4 to the third, which is 64. We then put these numbers right next to them, so 0, 2, 16, 54, 128. Well, the crazy thing here is 0 to 0 means we're not adding, and we can't be subtracting, so now we check multiplication. So forget about 0. What do you multiply 1 by to make it 2? And what I know is that you would multiply that by 2. Well, let's check. 8 times 2, 16. What about 27 times 2? Yep, that's 54. What about 64 times 2? Yep, that's 128. So our actual pattern is y equals 2 x to the third. Since we really can't put times 2, we would just put the 2 in front of that pattern and call it what it is right there. Okay? So again, the general idea here is that 2 checks leads to x squared, 3 checks automatically is x to the third as your base pattern. Alright, so again, if you have questions on that, please pause the video now, bring it over to one of us, or raise your hand so one of us can come and assist you with that. But for the moment, write this in your notes because this is important information for you to have. So the general idea for what you just saw today is that if it takes 2 attempts to make a common difference, then use x squared as your base pattern. Of course, take the x squared, plug in the numbers, and go from there. If it takes 3 attempts, then use x to the third as your base pattern. And again, use those numbers to adjust, and then list the base pattern for whatever it is next to the actual pattern to find your adjustment. Again, in this situation, your adjustment could be addition, it could be subtraction, it could be multiplication. It's not usually going to be division, but it's either going to be addition, subtraction, or multiplication. So with that being said, you have one question which has 2 parts to it. So get out a sheet of paper, write these 2 things down, and knock these 2 questions out. Again, you can work together, but this represents your class participation grade, or your class grade for what you have here. It has to be right, so make sure you don't just hand it in. Make sure you have somebody check over it, even if it's just bringing it up to me or Mrs. Hines to see if you did it right, so you can get credit for it. But other than that, make sure you work this out and get this done before you leave today. And then after that, you can go to the second video, which is going to explain these answers and give you some extra practice. Other than that, good luck. And again, work together, use each other, and make sure you are actually trying to figure this stuff out, because you do have a quiz on this week, and it's going to include these questions. Good luck.